Welcome to Contractor Cuts, where we cover the good, the bad, and the ugly of growing a successful contracting company.
Welcome back to Contractor Cuts. My name is Clark Turner.
I'm Jared Flo.
Thank you guys for joining us again. So this week is starting our leadership series that we are going to be doing for a couple podcasts in a row.
Yep.
We have slowed our podcast. We're doing it every other week. We're working on some really cool things that we're going to be doing, from our software development all the way through. We're starting these webinar series. So we're taking the podcast to every other week. But it's still the same great content that's going to keep going out week over week. So,
and right now we're talking about leadership.
So leadership is such a broad term. And so this series is going to cover how we grow, how we start ourselves and grow ourselves into leadership roles, how you manage others and grow them into leadership roles, how do you control the culture in your company. And you might say, hey, I don't have employees. I don't got to worry about that.
Yeah.
It starts with leadership on your job sites.
Do you have people working for you?
Yes. You've got subs, you got crews, even clients, and leading in that perspective. And if you have a goal to hire at least one person, you need to set up your leadership now, your skills, how you do things, and work on that before you hire somebody.
Right.
You don't figure out leadership once someone's here.
Yeah, and this is about leadership across the board. I mean, obviously we are contractor focused because that's kind of our thing and what we do and what we have a lot of experience in. But leadership is leadership, no matter what company you're in, no matter what you're doing, whether you're a guy who runs crews on a job site or you're a guy who runs a large company in the finance world. Leadership is so important. And it's a make or a breaker of whether you keep employees, whether you have a great culture of a place to work. It's super, super important.
Well, and this leadership podcast and series is going to cover, like you said, any leader can listen to this and learn from how to grow as a leader. The construction side, though, doubles down on you have to be a specific type of leader, because you aren't the all-star anymore. You know, in some companies, the leader, the person up front, is the person landing the sales and doing all of the upfront work to where they can be the all-star, and it works in different leadership types. Right. In construction, if you're having project managers go out, that is the face of the company. That is your all-star that's making money. That is the person that is out there making the cash to come back to the company that you are managing. So it is so much more important to have a specific leadership style in construction if you want to be successful. So let's dive into that.
Well, and I along with that, one of the things I was just thinking is I think one of the catches in this is everyone feels like they're a good leader. Yeah. Some form or fashion, doesn't matter what spectrum of this that you're on. Yeah. Everyone feels like they're a good leader. Yeah. And what we found out from us investigating ourselves as we were leading companies and whatever, is like, I have some skills. Yeah. But I might not be able to see the perspective of myself the way other people see it. Yeah. And I might not be as good of a leader as I think I am.
Yeah. Right? Well, and you're as good of a leader as no one ignores the things that they think they should do as a leader, right? No one is like, you know what, a leader would do this, but screw it, I ain't going to do it, right? No one says that. You do your best of what you're aware of. And so it's understanding and learning awareness of what you're not good at to start leaning into that stuff. And hearing other perspectives and being vulnerable enough that you say, you know what, I might not be good at that. And that's okay because I can work on it. A lot of people hate saying that because when you start saying that, you're vulnerable, right? Yeah. People are like, you're right, you suck at that. All right, cool, okay. You know, and so it's one of the, it's very important to dive into this if you want to be a successful leader.
Yeah. Yep. It's important to know if you understand that the value of it. Yeah. Then you know that you need to just be in a constant state of development. Yep. Right. That's the point and purpose of this, is to create perspective of development and growth.
Yep. So
let's dive on in.
Let's dive in. Starting with this, we want to start with a test. If you are a contractor listening to this, if you are a leader in your company, if you are a one-man show, if you are an office man, whatever you are, there is leadership required of you in your job. Yeah. And so we're going to ask you a question. Excuse me. We're going to ask you a question, and I want you to pause it or take a second and think about your true answer. This is going to be as interactive as you want it to be, but if you can answer this question, you are a leader. Let's say you've got a project manager or even a crew if you don't.
An employee.
Yeah. And they show up, they're supposed to be there at 8:30 on Monday. And they're 30 minutes late at 8:30. They're supposed to be there at 8. You say, hey, it was supposed to be 8. Oh, sorry, this. Okay. Tuesday comes. Hey, be there at 8. They show up at 8:30. All right, but this is day 2, and you're frustrated.
Right.
Day 3 happens. They show up late again. On day 3, when they show up late for a third time in a row after you've told them 2 times that that's not okay, what is your reaction? What is the emotion that you feel on day 3? It is 8:15. You're standing on your job site. That stinking guy showed up. Is still not here. Who was supposed to be here at 8. What is the emotion? Pause this if you got to think about it.
Right.
Find the emotions that you're feeling. Name whatever ones you can, and identify your emotions in that moment. Most guys that we know, that we've coached, that we've been around, as well as our own experience, is what they're going to say is, I'm mad, I'm angry, I'm pissed off, right? Those are the 3 go-tos in construction and contracting, and those are all true.
And I'm going to show that.
And I'm going to show that
to the person that it needs to hear it.
Yes. A leader looks at those, and we're going to take a second step. And we'll talk about that in a second. But what I want you to do is take those emotions, whatever it was, anger, pissed off, mad, whatever the emotion is, and now go to your second level of emotion. Why are you angry?
Right.
What happened to get you? What emotion did you feel to get you angry? Well, he was late. That's not an emotion. What emotion did you feel that makes you angry? Because anger is not in and of itself what you're feeling, right? You're feeling disrespected. You're feeling like he doesn't care about you and your company. You're feeling all sorts of other emotions that lead to anger. The disrespect leads me to anger, right?
Right.
So that's where we're going to start. Test yourself. Figure out where you start, and can you dive to that second level of emotion?
Be honest with yourself. Everybody has had a similar experience with something like that. It may not be the exact same thing, but you've had an experience in your past that has been that. Where did you go? What was your thoughts? What was your emotions? Where does that thing take you kind of instinctually?
And so that leads us into the 3 types of contracting leaders that we see, or any leadership in the company. How do you react to that situation is really the test.
Yeah.
If day 3, the guy shows up and you are screaming, you are angry, you are yelling, you are saying, you're threatening, you are telling them that if they don't, I'm going to hunt you down because you're doing this, and you're getting explosive with them, most likely you're an authoritarian leader.
It is my way.
It is my way or the highway. I am the authority here. You follow along behind me. Get in line. You don't disrespect me. You're fired. You're gone.
Get to stepping.
Yeah. It is an authoritarian way to run your company.
And typically comes with a level of fear.
Yep.
I am going to rule by fear.
Yep. That is, people feel belittled. People feel like idiots who work for you. People avoid you. People are scared to tell you stuff. People are fearful of you. And most guys that are running in that style of leadership don't want to be confronted because they're scared to be confronted. Right? I can't be vulnerable. I've got to let them know I'm so disrespected. And most of us have grown up that way, right? You've grown up in an authoritarian mindset,
how your parents were.
I gotta be. And so in construction, that just feels normal, right? Like, this guy's an idiot. Why did you show up? It's been 3 days. Screw you. You're out. Right. And so that's
well, and there's also been decades of that example, specifically in the contracting world.
Yeah.
Right. Of like, no, this is how it works. I just scream and holler and I bend the steel to do what I want.
Yep.
And it's my way or the highway, or you get out of here. And that's the way general contracting companies, small contracting companies, renovations have been run for decades.
Yeah. And you cannot grow a contracting company to a large scale successfully easily this way, because nobody wants to follow you. Everyone's scared of you. So you can bring on 2, 3, 4 employees. You can have, $5, $6, $7, $8 million in sales. But you, at the helm are going to crash this company. It's not going to work.
Here's a good test for you.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't know that you do that, and the way that you operate just seems normal to you.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have a lot of turnover of the people that you've hired, whether it is crews, employees, whoever it is, if you have a lot of turnover, that they just up and quit.
Yeah, I don't know why they quit. It took me by surprise.
Aha!
Yeah. If you don't know why people are quitting and they're scared to tell you why they're quitting,
Yeah.
most likely you fit in this category.
Yeah.
All right, so that's category 1, authoritarian. Category 2, as a leader, is the passive failure to lead. If I'm a failure to lead, you might be a really good guy. You might be a girl that everyone likes, right? You might be someone that is a really good contractor, really good at putting a house together, and you've nose to the grindstone, worked your butt off, got to this spot where you have too much work to handle, and you hired someone to come on because why wouldn't they work like me, right? Like, this is what we do. You show up, you grind, you get it done, you have high quality product, and go do it again. You hire your first person, and then all of a sudden they show up from the third day in a row, and you're not leading. You're like, well, I guess this guy needs to be fired.
Yeah.
I guess, like, I can't believe you, like, why aren't you showing up? I'm confused. And there's a failure to communicate. There's a failure on your part to really set expectations because you assume that they are as smart as you are. They respect clients like you do.
Yeah.
And it's a passive mindset.
Yeah. Well, and typically authoritarian is the type of person who has no problem with confrontation.
Yep.
The failure to lead, passive, is typically more of the person who doesn't like confrontation. They'll do it if they have to, but it's a grind for them, and it's more difficult, which typically leads to a lack of clarity in communication.
Minimal confrontation, and not even scared of it, but really, it's like, he showed up late. That makes me mad. So, hey, you do that again, you're fired.
Right.
Okay. All right. I'm so sorry. Like, there's a bunch of different. I know it's been 3 days, but okay. And it
because they didn't want to get into the argument. They just make it short, simple.
Yep. Like, you assume that people know what you're saying and what you're thinking and how you expect them to act as your employee, but they don't know. Right. And that's the hard part, is you don't know that they don't know. Yeah. Right. It's a lack of awareness in that situation too.
Well, and another example of a person that fits into that category is if you're a person that you developed a skill and you're really good at it and you just head down, rock and roll, you get it done, you turn around and you do good work, people like you, and your business starts developing, and you have so much business you can't handle it, and you bring other people on to help cover it, but you're still head down running, and you're not up looking perspective, but you're doing what you do and expecting other people to follow you. Yeah. There's not really leadership there, and you're missing the leadership space.
Yeah. And it's hard to identify. It's really hard for those guys because it's like, I'm doing everything that a leader should do. I don't know what I'm missing. It's like, well, there's a depth of understanding of what people are looking for as a leader that you're missing. Right. And it's very hard to draw a line to that. But it's one of those things of like, I paid them when I said I was going to pay them. I'm trustworthy. I'm loyal to them. I show up on time. I tell them where to be. What am I missing as a leader? And there's that depth that we're about to cover. Right. So that's number 2. Number 1, authoritarian. Number 2, a failure to lead. Right. And number 3 is an advocate. Yeah. A self-aware advocate. And that's where we push is advocacy and self-awareness as a leader. That's what we look for in the guys that we raise up in our company as leaders. That's what we coach on. But an advocate who is self-aware, someone who is a servant heart, someone who is not there for the praise, but there to build others up. It's a head coach. It is. I am not on the field playing. I'm not meeting the painter at the job site. I'm not installing the HVAC, but I am the head coach, organizing, building morale, building communication, making sure everyone knows their role, helping them understand when they step aside. So those are the 3 types. Normally, you're probably one of those, or you think you're one, you might be another, or you're probably, depends on the situation and how stressful life is at home right now.
You can merge in and out of them differently, but you probably have one that is your dominant self, like where you stand.
I mean, I've even seen, I'm usually a authoritarian or advocate, but I hire an alpha type personality, and so I get a little more passive because it's just not worth it.
Right.
And so it's one of those things of those are kind of the three different categories, and it might be by employee that you act differently.
Right.
But what we want is the advocate, self-aware, servant-hearted leader.
Right.
And so today what we're going to talk about, or really this whole series of what we're talking about, is me, them, and us.
Right.
Right. So me, I'm the contractor. I'm the leader here. We're going to talk about that today. Next week, we're talking about the
people you lead,
the person you lead, them, that one employee. How do I deal with one-on-one employees? That's them, right? If I'm the leader here, how do I deal with conflict with that employee? How do I deal with growth with that employee? How do I deal with promotions with that employee? How do I lead that employee? And then the last week, we're going to talk about us,
right?
The culture, us as a company,
team.
The team vision. Even if there's two of us,
right,
there's a difference of us and me focusing on you.
Right.
It's setting a culture. That's the us side of it. And so
right.
Those are kind of the 3 weeks that we're going to cover. And then the last week, we're bringing on a specialist talking through how do we develop leaders internally.
What does development look like?
Yeah, and that sort of thing. So going through that, starting at the me, how do we talk to contractors? How do we talk to leaders in companies? How do we talk to leaders on job sites? In the me, where do I start? Right. How do I get focused, Jared?
In talking about just me, leaders, the very most important foundational piece of it is self-awareness.
Yep.
Is the ability to inspect yourself, know what your strengths are, know what your weaknesses are. And once you understand that and are able to investigate that within yourself, you can work to develop those things.
Yep.
That's a huge piece of it because, you can read leadership books all day, every day. But if you don't know yourself, if you're not able to look at a situation and understand the secondary emotion, understand why that disrespect agitates me so much.
Yeah.
Then your ability to have perspective and lead in a negative situation, positive situation, future situation, any of that, your perspective is going to be skewed.
Yep.
So you have to be able to be an investigator to become self-aware of what you're great at and what you need development at and what you'll never be good at.
Yep.
That's a key principle.
Yeah, it's also, self-awareness is when one of the guys we're coaching is like, well, that project, he's just an idiot. He's a moron.
Yeah.
He's an idiot. Okay, so why are you so angry about that? First off, you hired him. So what's that make you?
Right.
All right. Second off, you hired him. He's chosen to be here. You either need to fire him and let him go, or you need to work on what the future looks like, right? And so if he's a quote unquote idiot, I guarantee you he's not. He just is lacking in areas that you either need to confront, right? And so that's the awareness. He's not an idiot, right? What has he done to make you feel that way? And so with self-awareness, why are you feeling so angry towards that person or dismissing towards that person?
Why is whatever going on so agitating to you that you would call somebody something negative?
Yeah.
Why would you as a leader get to that space? That's something important for you to know and understand.
Yeah. So one of the big things about awareness is our entire lives. The world is set up to where I've got to argue and prove myself of why I'm right. Every situation in school, a lot of people and their parents of always having to be defensive, always having to prove why that was right. No, I didn't do that. It was this. It's a defensive mindset that we grow up with. It is I have to be right, or if I'm not right, then I'm not valuable, right? It is a self-conscious, like I have to be right or else. And so we grow up in that world, and even in construction. I mean, you spend 20 years in construction before you make your first hire, and every single day you wake up and you're defending yourself to the client as to why you did it a certain way. I got to prove myself that I'm right. I got to prove that I'm right. I got to prove that I'm right. You owe me money. This is why it's right. This is why you. our entire lives in construction is that.
Right.
To be able to shift into leadership, and this is the hardest shift for contractors, is being right is most often wrong.
Mm-hmm.
To prove yourself right.
This is a difficult concept.
It is very hard because to be a good leader, it doesn't matter if you're right. It's not about being right. It's about everyone working in the same direction and correcting to get in that direction. I don't care if I'm right. Yeah. I don't care. I don't need to be right to feel good about myself.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the most difficult things to separate in leadership is self-awareness is saying, I don't care about being right. I care about what's the best for you and this company.
Yeah.
And if I can take care of you as my employee and this company, I don't have to be right.
Right.
Because I'm right. I don't have to prove it to anybody because I'm the boss here. I don't have to prove myself, but I want to verify and see why things went the way they went.
Right.
It doesn't matter about being right or wrong. It matters about learning and growing. And if my employees aren't learning from mistakes and growing the company and themselves personally into where they need to go, then we have an issue.
Well, the day that you move into a leadership position, your existence is now about others.
Yep.
Right? It's no longer about you.
Yeah.
It is about others. It is the people that you are leading, and me being right, even if I'm 100% right, me stating that I am right is only about me.
What's the purpose?
It's only for me to feel good and make sure that they know that I'm right.
Yeah.
It's all about me, my emotions, my feelings, and now I am now in charge because they know that I'm right.
Yep.
And I've left that person out on an island, abandoned, feeling beaten up, abused, right? Also, I would feel better.
Yeah.
If I can learn, this is the way it's been stated to me, the skill of giving up the right to be right.
Mm-hmm.
I am right, and I have a right to be right because, one, I'm the boss, so everything that I say is right.
Yeah.
Right? Two, I know that I'm right because I told him 3 times, be there at 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
I was very clear, and I have it in a text message.
Yeah.
Right? I am right again.
Yeah.
But if I lead into that situation with that as the forefront, I'm just plowing through.
Yeah.
Right.
But you're trying to prove that you're better than them. Mm-hmm. And there's zero need in leadership for that.
Right.
One way to assess your self-awareness.
Mm-hmm.
How do you take feedback? Think about your worst employee, whatever it is, or a crew leader that was not very good. Mm-hmm. If they had negative feedback for you, how would you take it? Right? If you asked your wife or your friends, hey man, where do you think I struggle as a leader? Could you ask that question?
Sure.
Can you lower your guard far enough down to ask that question and receive an answer? And
it's less about asking the question; it's being willing to receive the answer.
Yes.
That you got to let your guard down.
That's the B. Is are people around you scared to give you that answer?
Sure.
Are they going to give you the real answer? And if they're scared of you, if they can't give you that answer, or they don't, I don't know. I mean, I guess you're a good leader. Every person that works for you knows where your flaws are as a leader. Mm-hmm. And if you don't know, you have to find out. Because if I can identify mine, you can identify yours, then we're good. But the problem is, if someone comes to me and blindsides me and says, Clark, I think you're a narcissist. Okay, great. Help me understand that. What makes you say that? Obviously, that's not who I believe I am. But if I've shown actions that way, I want to talk about that and ask for forgiveness, right? And so it's the awareness and the ability to say, I'm not aware of everything about me, and I can let people around me speak into that.
That's right.
Right? And so that is the test for awareness. Can you ask every person around you, where do you think I'm failing? Right? At home with your wife. Hey, where do you think I could be a better dad? Where do you think I could be a better husband? If you can say that stuff and listen to the feedback and say, that's really helpful. Thank you. I'm going to work on that. That is the first step of awareness.
That's right. Well, and when we're talking about awareness, and it is such a vital piece of leadership, so much so that in our GC company, we require anybody who's in leadership to either have been through or currently going through some level of personal counseling.
Yep.
Because it shows active desire to be aware and to understand, to be self-aware and investigate. And it teaches you skills that as a leader, you become a person that is a counselor of other people.
Yeah.
And so it's so vitally important to have the personal experience of going through counseling, doing that internal investigation, understanding the perspective of how you do things, taking things to that second level of emotion.
Yeah.
All of that stuff is so vitally important to have personal experience so that I can continue that development as I am in the leadership role, as well as roll that development down to the people that I'm leading.
Exactly. If I can have every leader in my company have the self-awareness and learn the skills of being self-aware as to what they're feeling, why they're feeling it, why they're acting a certain way. Why am I so cranky today? Oh, you know what? My wife and I argued this. Right?
Yeah.
If I can be self-aware of my emotions and why am I so mad when that guy said that? Oh, I feel super disrespected by him. Like third time he said that, he doesn't respect me at all.
Yeah.
Right. If I can be aware of that, the depth that you can go personally is as far as you can challenge and grow the people underneath you when you're a leader, right? And so if you're my employee, I'm the leader here, my job is to make you self-aware, right? Not tell you you're an idiot. I hope you're aware that you're stupid, right? That's not making you self-aware.
Right.
It's saying, Jared, it seems like when you deal with that client, or that crew that showed up 30 minutes late, you went to 10 real quick. Like, what happened there, man? What's going on? Help me understand that, because
I bought them chicken biscuits and they were cold when they got there, and
man, I'm gonna go second level. It sounds like you were disrespected.
Yeah.
It sounds like you were caring for them and they didn't care about you.
Right.
That sounds like it hit a nerve. All right. So what should we do about this? Right. And so the coaching,
never buy chicken biscuits for them again.
Yeah. Well, the coaching side of it, the leadership side of, and we're gonna get to dealing with others and dealing with your employees, but on my internal side, I can't do that until I can do it to myself.
Yeah.
Because it's very, very, very obvious when a leader is not self-aware and they're trying to call you out on something. Yeah. It's like, that's not
the statement that clarifies that I really, really love, and I use it across my entire life. You cannot give away what you don't have.
Yep.
Right. And if I don't have the perspective, the insight, the development, self-confidence. If I don't have that, I can't pass it along. But what I do have, I can pass along. So if I have level 10 instantly to manage my business, and I give that, I'm going to pass it to my employees, and they're going to pass it to the subs, and they're going to pass it to their clients, and right. So how do you want your company to be experienced is dictated by the level of awareness that you are passing through your company.
Yep. And I think it's good also to pause here to say, I think I've heard from guys before, like, I don't care about all this voodoo therapy stuff, feel good. We build houses. We just renovate homes. Whatever you do, like, I don't care about all that mumbo jumbo, right? I've heard that before. And the answer is that's fine. You don't need this to renovate a kitchen. Nope. You don't need this to renovate a basement. You don't need this to run an HVAC company. You don't need this to run electrical. You don't need this to build a house. You need this to build a company that runs without you. Because if I can build this great leader inside myself, and then from there can build a leader inside of my company, I can then step away slowly from the company. And the company runs with the leadership that I want in it without me there.
But if I run it as if I am the spark plug and I'm cattle prodding, and that's how I get that kitchen done, and that's how I don't care about people's feelings. I just I get it done. Yep. As soon as you leave, there's
no one poking the cattle.
That's right.
Yep. And so that part of this is long-term growth minded, and honestly, this for both of us started in counseling for ourselves. This started in my marriage of learning how to be aware of feelings. You know, going to a therapist when my marriage was falling apart, saying, "I feel mad. I feel sad. I feel angry. I feel pulls out the feelings wheel in the therapy office and says, what does mad mean, right?" And so once I learned it about myself and in my marriage, and things got really good because we learned how to talk to each other in a way that they understand, then it implemented into the company, right? Then it implemented in, and we've heard that from guys we coach, is this isn't just helping my company, it's helping my personal
That's
life.
right. That's right.
This is helping how I deal with my
everywhere.
wife, how I deal with my kids, how I deal with some of my friends.
It
that I've
helps
had
you
issues
become
with.
a more healthy individual.
Yeah.
Period.
And if you don't value that, okay, then you shouldn't follow this. You know, it's one of those things of, if you don't find value in being a good leader and being healthier as a person, that's fine. You're not going anywhere.
Go to one of those other guys.
Go work for someone at one of those companies.
Yeah.
So when we're looking at me, we start with awareness.
Mm-hmm.
Am I aware? How aware am I, and how can I get more aware? From there, the second thing we look at is perspective.
And by investigating and developing awareness, it dictates perspective.
That's absolutely right. So my perspective on any situation, on any employee, where am I coming with that perspective?
Yeah.
We're starting and I'm giving the benefit of the doubt.
Mm-hmm.
I am in every situation assuming the best in that person, even if they've proven yesterday and the day before that I shouldn't trust them.
Leading with humility.
Mm-hmm. Saying, you know what? We're going to start benefit of the doubt. They might have been late yesterday, and they might have been late the day before. Today, they could have had 2 flat tires. Right. I don't know that. They, I want to find out. I want the benefit of that. Maybe I did in my text say 8:30, not 8. Maybe there's so many, 99 times out of 100, they are at fault. But I'm starting by giving them the benefit of the doubt, and I'm going to own everything because I'm going to take away any reason for them to point a finger at me. Because I don't care about pointing fingers. I don't want to point fingers at them. I don't want them to point fingers at me. I want them to either learn and change from what they've learned of what's needed here, or not work here anymore.
Right.
Like if you don't value being on time, okay, this probably isn't the job for you, right? And so it's not taking it personally, but having the perspective of this guy in his life, in his world, doesn't value being places on time, and it's perceived as disrespectful to me and my clients. And that's what it probably is. But I don't care about that. I don't care about being right. I don't need your respect. I don't need anyone's respect. I respect myself, and I demand and respect other people within the company. But I don't need to have it. You just shouldn't work here anymore.
Yeah. Well, and that perspective is not easily come by without being self-aware.
Correct.
And understanding in that space, I can still be the calmest heartbeat in the room.
Yep.
And when they come back at me or they disrespect, I don't have to go to a level 10. I can just engage with it, and it's not affecting me in a negative way.
Yeah. And it feels calloused because it's like all I care about is forward movement and growth, not what I'm feeling because I'm mad.
Right.
But it's not that at all. Most of your mad feelings are because you've got baggage.
Yeah.
I need to be respected.
I'm going to prove something to that person.
Yep. I spent my entire life trying to gain respect from my dad. Right. I mean, we've heard stories so many times of I just have never had respect. I've never had, and so I demand it now.
Yep.
Right. And so it's one of those things of you got to put that aside. That is poor leadership is when you're trying to find something from me from how you're treating me.
Well, and the most respect that I have ever seen employees give their boss or owner have been in the companies that boss or owner, their perspective is employees first.
Yep.
That their employees know that the owner is always thinking about their best interest.
Yeah.
Right? And there is so much respect there that is earned from an action of I'm going to, and I know that I'm right, but I'm going to engage with, help me understand, this is what we said, help me understand something different, and then they listen.
Yep.
Right? They don't say, I thought we said this, that's not what we said, next time this is what's going to happen. No. Tell me why this happened. Well, you're beyond at that point. You've already shut them down.
Yep.
But leading with that humility of, you know what, maybe there was some miscommunication, help me understand what happened. Yeah. Like, why were you late again?
Yeah, and even if you feel 100%, there's no benefit of the doubt with this person. They legit just didn't show up.
Guess who also knows that? They know that too.
Yeah, and exactly. So it's even if that's the case, it does no good just to say you're an idiot, you screwed up, you're getting fired next time.
If they know it and you lead with, giving them benefit of the doubt anyways,
Yeah.
You have an open line of communication and ability to lead a person.
Yeah. And that's, I mean, to be able to say, listen, I forgive you. Like, I don't need you to ask for forgiveness. I don't need anything else. I want to know, did I say something wrong? Did I mislead you in some way? Is there was a failure of leadership here if you on day 3 still don't know you should be there, or that you're still here? Because day 4 isn't going to come with you showing up late.
Right.
And so these are the options from here moving forward, because obviously, do we need to have any sort of clarification conversation about this, right? And so I'm trying to get to the bottom of it, not prove that they're wrong.
Right.
So awareness, I'm aware of myself, I'm aware of my feelings. They showed up late. I am angry, I am mad, whatever it is, whatever the awareness of the emotion is.
Investigating yourself.
First. Even in a situation, step out of it, right? I'm angry. Step out. I'm going to figure out why I'm angry, and I'm going to name that stuff to that person.
That's right.
Secondly, perspective. I got to have a perspective of that person. Once I'm aware of myself, my perspective is how I'm going to treat my awareness of them.
Yeah.
How am I going to say, okay, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt and give you what you don't deserve. I'm going to treat you in a way that you probably don't deserve, because I don't care about punishment. I care about growth.
Right.
And I'm here to investigate, are you going to grow, or are you going to not work here anymore? Right? That's all I care about. Those two things. I don't care about punishment to you, because I'm not your dad. Right. I'm not in charge of correcting your actions so you're a better person and you say please and thank you now because I've told you should do it.
Right.
I care about saying, listen, you're either going to grow here, you're going to be better at being on time, and we're going to figure out how to do that, or you're not going to work here. And that's up to you. If you don't want to work here, I get it. I get it. We shouldn't do that. And so it's not a threat. It's not going at them. It's the perspective of, hey, let's together figure out if this is the right role for you.
That's right. Well, and another piece of perspective that I really want to make sure that we throw out there is the idea of the example perspective.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is your employees, the people that you lead, are always watching.
Yep.
And they're learning from you, right? And if you are the first one and the last one, right? First one in, last one out. If you're the hardest worker, if you lead by example, the things that you expect of them, you do and then some.
Yeah.
When you ask people to do things, they've been watching.
Yep.
And so by nature of you asking them to do things, they're following the leader.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Many times the people that I coach have literally said to their employees, look, I've got so many other things that I do. I don't have time to do all of these things the way that I just do what I say, don't do what I do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
I'm paying you to do this job, so do the job well.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And, that's fine. I get the mentality behind that, but you need to understand the perspective that creates.
Yeah.
Is that now you have a person who is an employee who is there just doing what they're told. Mm-hmm. And there's a mindset behind
They're your assistant now.
That's right.
Yeah.
Versus somebody who is being asked to toe a line that I show an example of doing higher than that. Yep. You've said many of times the line that you set as an owner or a leader, the people that you lead will get
just underneath
of it. And so if you don't even show an example, they have nothing to shoot for. They've got no one that's leading them. So I think that's a really important thing when it comes to perspective, of understanding the perspective of how people view you and the way that you need to function as a leader, that you are providing a leadership perspective.
And this is kind of going into communicating what we're going to talk about next week with your employees. But I think with what you're saying, a great example, because I think that it's like, okay, so how do I do that? A great example of what you're saying is this. Listen, do what I say. Don't do as I do. I need you to do it this way. Get it done. Right. Says to the employee, hey, my time's more valuable than yours. Which it probably is. You're the owner of the company, which makes sense. But it's almost demeaning, belittling to them in terms of like, listen, you're just an employee. The exact same thing. I'm saying the exact same thing to that employee, but I'm going to say, listen, man, I've been wearing a ton of hats. It's a small company. You're my first in, you're my first, second, third, whatever, project manager. And I need to lean on you to have the project management process down to a T to where it's systematic. I don't have time to do that, as well as the estimates that I'm doing, as well as the bookkeeping I'm doing. And so can I lean on you?
You're getting buy-in to the team.
Can I lean on you to be the person that pushes forward that this process is done well? And I'm going to try my hardest to do it as well. Yep. But I've got these other things that I got to focus on. Can you step up as a leader here and own this process and making sure that everybody around, because I'm going to need a manager of this company someday. I want a number 2 here, and I can see that in you. Can you step up and do this way and beat me at it?
That's
be
right.
better than me at this.
That's right.
Same exact conversation, 2 totally different results in your employee's mind. One is, oh great, he takes shortcuts, so I can take shortcuts, and the other is, shoot, I'm buy-in, I'm a leader here, and I can see where I'm going with this, which leads in from awareness to perspective, and the third thing is vision.
Yeah, I love this one. Yeah.
And so vision is the third part of me when I'm talking about leadership. I've got awareness of who I am. I've got perspective on my employees and how to approach them and what they need from me. And finally, I've got a vision for where I need to grow, a vision for where the company is growing, and a vision for where every employee is going to grow.
That's right.
And so what that means as a leader is, if we have a shared vision, right? If Jared, I'm confronting you, you're showing up late for a third day, I can say, hey, I need you to be on time or you're not getting paid, and motivate through threats and money. Or I can say, Jared, we've talked about this before.
You wanted to get to this position.
I'm hiring 3 people this year as project managers. We've got an extra $3 million worth of work that I want to take on, and so we're going to bring these guys in. I need leaders here. I need someone who can manage this and take my spot so I can pursue growth and development for the company. And we've talked about this when your first day of working here, of where you wanted to go with this company.
Right.
And our vision for you here is that you're going to be a leader. And showing up every day late says that you're not.
Right.
And so what you're saying that you want is not reflected in your actions. And I'm confused. Do you really want that?
Right.
Is that something that you want here?
Right.
If you don't, okay, but I'm not going to put you in a leadership role here. You're probably not going to get the same amount of opportunity for raises and promotions, but I at least need you to show up on time.
Well, and I think what I love about this is that, as a leader, there's 3 levels of vision.
Yeah.
Right. Future for the company as a whole.
Yep.
All of us, the team. If I'm the coach, where is the team going? The team's going to the World Series. The team's going to the Super Bowl, right? The employee level. Every one of my employees, I know them, I understand them, I know their strengths, I know their weaknesses, and my goal is to consistently make them better than they are today, personally and as an employee. And then the third level, and the first and primary and number one most important, is me.
Yep.
Me as the leader. I have to know my strengths, I have to know my weaknesses, and I have to know where I'm going.
Yeah.
Because everything that I lack, it is a deficit to the growth of my people and my company.
Yep.
And so what is the development that I personally need? Yep. Do I need to go to counseling to help with this? Do I need to read leadership books? Do I need to read de-escalation books? Right?
Yeah.
Where are the things that I struggle? Confrontation books.
Yeah.
Right? But that is such a huge piece of, I've assessed myself. I understand the perspective that's necessary for me to be a good leader, and here's where I'm lacking. And if I want to be able to do right by my employees and have the growth and vision that I'm looking for the team and my company, I've got to work to develop me. And that's the first level, vitally important, that is going to dictate all of this direction that you're trying to create.
I mean, the vision is, I'm the captain of the ship, and I know where we're headed, and you know where we're headed to.
Yeah.
You might not know the exact path, but we're on the ship headed towards this island, right?
Yep.
And so with that being said, will you get on the ship, right? And so now that you've gotten on the ship, we have agreed that this is where we're headed. And when you're on the ship and you're not acting that way, you're not pulling the sails, you're not doing what you need to be doing, I can say, hey, you're here because we both want to get to this spot.
Right.
And if you're done with that and you're here for a paycheck, this isn't the place.
Right.
Go work at McDonald's if you want a paycheck. Go be a sub and run paint on a house. That's fine. For me, I want to only hire people with a long-term perspective. And again, we're getting into next week.
Right.
But I want to have that vision that they share. I want the vision that you want to retire here. If I'm not going to hire someone who just wants to be a butt in the seat. We don't need that around here. There's not enough seats for that.
Right.
And so it's starting out with a vision and understanding their vision for their future. And if that matches up in the interview, awesome. You're going to work well here. And so that's something interview-wise that I'm clearing up in the beginning. Do our visions align? And where's our starting point that we can both be walking towards? So when you show up late, it's not an offense to me. You're hurting yourself and where you're headed in this vision.
When you for hiring employees and all that, you have to have the introspective thought enough of where's my vision? Where do I want to take this? I want to be a multi-billion-dollar company. Okay, great, right? Or I want to just service the people that really need help. Whatever the vision is, develop that, create that, make it tangible, understandable. Then when you go to hire somebody, you can spell that out and see if they align.
Yep.
Right.
So here are the steps that we want you to take today. If you are listening to this and you're saying, okay, I want to work on me as a leader, whether it's with my employees, I don't have employees yet, I am an employee and I want to become a leader at my company, wherever you're at, what do you do with all this information?
Yeah.
There's a few steps that we say, okay, today, tomorrow, this week, next week, whenever
simple steps to just
try doing some of this stuff. First off, we want you to practice awareness at the next chance you get, and also thinking through previous issues. Right. So the best place to start, you can do it right now. You can pause the Contractor Cuts, and you can think through. Last time I got really angry with a customer, with the crew, with an employee, what happened? What feeling did I have? And can you find that secondary feeling?
Right.
Identifying that is very hard to do naturally.
And also, like, when you find that spot and understand that secondary feeling, also assess, could I have handled that differently?
Yeah.
If I wasn't at a level 11, would I have done something different?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me understand why I got to a level 11 and then start applying it forward.
Did that employee come out of it being built up in growth, or did I walk away winner?
That's right.
And so assess that. And if you want bonus points, go and talk to the person about it. That's the most difficult part of it is saying, hey, listen, man, I overreacted last week when you showed up without blah, 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 blah. I'm so sorry that I acted that way. Like, it's not okay that you did that, but I shouldn't treat you that way.
Yeah.
That's the bonus points if you want to do it.
Help me understand how we can do better.
That's the first.
Yeah.
Secondly, practice being the calmest heartbeat in the room. That is what a leader is. That's with your kids, which is the hardest for me. Over with employees, I can do it easier than with family.
Right.
But in any situation of your life, can you be the calmest heartbeat? That is the leader in the room. And so what that means is, I'm arguing with a client. I'm going to be the calm heartbeat. And if I'm not, I'm going to remove myself and say, hey, give me 5 minutes. Let me give you a call back in a second.
Yeah.
I am going to be the calmest heartbeat because high anger, high heartbeat, I'm raging, I'm mad, are just living out of that first level of feelings.
Well, and also it does zero good. It has zero benefit.
Yeah, it doesn't help. It might make you feel good short term.
And it is understandable to get to a high level and you're not the lowest heartbeat. It's understandable. If you get to that space, say, hey, I need a couple minutes. If you do that, state your intentions. Not, hey, I'm out of here. I'm not dealing with this, but I need a couple minutes. Give me a minute. I need to calm down, and I'll come back, and we'll continue this conversation. Thirdly,
you need to test perspective. Next opportunity. Next time you're ready to yell at someone, try and have this ding that goes off in your ear, like, wait, I am pissed at this guy.
Right.
All right, pause. Let me give him benefit of the doubt. I'm just going to try that. That's all I'm going to do. I'm just going to start the conversation with, hey man, what happened? Obviously something. And we're going to talk about this next week of how to confront, how to have these conversations. Right. But try just to find a perspective shift when you're confronting or having an issue. And if you're a failure to lead pacifist, kind of like, people feel like they don't understand me, that type of leadership, that's fine. Perspective can still happen even if you're not raging, right? Even if it's, all right, what's the perspective this guy's feeling? He didn't send that estimate like he was supposed to. Let me try to fill him in on why that's an issue. Right. Not tell him it's an issue. He probably knows it. And if he doesn't know it, it's not going to help to tell him. It's going to help to tell him and say, this is why it's an issue. Let me show you the ripple effect of what you're doing. And let me start there as opposed to start with anger.
Right.
So those things, and I think the fourth one that I'd add is what we were just talking about with the vision. Write down the vision for you, your company, and your employees. Write that down. If you want to do step by step today, those 4 things are going to get you there. Yeah. That's the very first start. Practice awareness with yourself. Practice the awareness of past experiences, number 1. Number 2, identify when you're not the calmest heartbeat and try to get there.
Right.
Number 3, test the perspective next time you have a confrontation. And then number 4, write out your vision. Start figuring out what you're going to challenge your employees of where they're going to go. Because I want to be a coach and coaching you and helping you and assisting you in getting to where you want to succeed. I don't want to be the principal that comes down and has to yell at you every time you do something wrong.
Right.
You can do those 4 things in the next 7 days. Try and start working on those. Write those down. Rewind this and listen to that part of it again. If you can start doing those, you are walking towards being a good leader yourself. Next week, we're going to cover how to lead others in terms of them. Right? How are we dealing with conflict with my employee? How am I leading on job sets? How am I leading in vision? How do I do that and do it successfully to where people want to follow?
That's right.
That's next week. And finally, we're going to do culture, which is us, leading the team, leading the company. And so it's been fun. If you have any feedback, we'd love to hear from you. Yeah. If you are looking for coaching or conversation about this or guides on hiring and leading and growth, we do a lot of one-on-one sessions with people over that stuff, as well as the software, which is the basis of how you can lead people. You have a software that we all work out of, and it's where we sit our meetings every Friday. We start there.
It's a guide of accountability.
It's a guide of accountability where I'm not the principal, but I'm here coaching you and helping you. It's a system that works together in running your contracting company. So we love to give that to you.
Yep.
Check us out, ProServeAlliance.com, and we will see you guys on the next podcast. Thank you guys.
See you then.
Bye.